Right now, what I want to talk about is concealed carry and what a different landscape we face in this country with the election of Donald Trump. And we can all breathe a sigh of relief that it's not President-elect Clinton. Larry Pratt from the Gun Owners of America is a guest, and glad you're back with us, Larry. Thank you.
Well, thanks so much. Good to be with you.
Absolutely. I think it's the first time you and I have spoken since Election Day.
That may well be, and I know that there's some really exciting things, hopefully, that are going to be happening. One of them, I was just talking to a lady that you might say has a big interest in one of Donald Trump's stated legislative objectives. Namely, could her Pennsylvania concealed carry permit now finally be recognized in New Jersey? Shanine Allen, a single mom, Philadelphia, actually until recently in South Philly, had been held up twice after closing down a convenience store, and by looking at the wrong end of the gun. It was very, very unpleasant. This was like twice in a month. So she went and got a concealed carry permit. And she, make a long story short, she got picked up in Pennsylvania and put in jail for some 40-plus days because she was carrying that gun, which was legal until she crossed the Delaware River into New Jersey. And when the cops realized that she had that, that's when they put her in jail. Really a threatening gal, you know.
Yeah.
A 30-year-old single mom, just as nice as you can be. And, well, boy, those cops really doing their work there in Atlantic County, New Jersey. That would not be possible if what is presently known as the Cornyn Bill becomes law. Her concealed carry permit in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, would have had to have been recognized in New Jersey.
Well, what is it? I'm in full support of that idea. I think I see a little bit of pushback on the part of some individual states who think they should have some kind of control over that, because I can already see it coming in the state of Illinois where they've doubled their requirements for training and all of that stuff so that they don't have reciprocity with. I don't think they have reciprocity with anyone, do they?
If they do, it would be precious few.
Yeah,
I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is that states might get hyper about driver's permits, but that doesn't let them interfere with. Illinois might be stupid about driver's permits too, but they can't keep somebody from, North Dakota from driving in Illinois. Because they have to, under Article 4, they have to recognize the actions of other states.
Right.
And that's really what we're talking about. It's not precisely even a Second Amendment issue. Its power comes from Article 4. And the states, there'll be a few, like Massachusetts, Illinois, maybe a lot of California. But once you've listed off that handful of control freaky type states, the rest of the country is going to say, okay.
Well, we do it with driver's license, right?
Yes, exactly.
And
same idea.
It's going to be people who have gone through training in their respective states, whatever level that training is. I would imagine that it's pretty similar in most states, other than
yes
somebody
and no.
like Illinois.
Those that have permits, yes, but there's a dozen states, soon to be 13, I think, where you don't have to have any training at all. I'm sure most people get it, but they don't have to. They can put it in their purse, put it in their pocket, and they're good to go. No government involvement needed whatsoever, just like I don't need government permission to write a letter to the editor.
Right.
And that's really going to cause an internal pressure on the cranium of a number of liberals. But we've gotten through it with driver's licenses, the states that have different requirements. And we're going to see the same thing with firearms. And my guess is that, say, when the cattlemen have a convention in San Francisco, most of them will come, of course, from Western states. I would think 95% of them would have a desire to carry a piece, and now they can do it. Well, my guess is that crime will be a little bit lower in San Francisco while that convention's in place. If you try to stick up one of those dudes on the street of San Francisco, and you might end up in a body bag.
It's sad, Larry. I have to tell you, we had a situation here in St. Louis a week ago, I think, where the governor-elect's wife got robbed at gunpoint while sitting in her car outside of a restaurant here on the western side of the city of St. Louis. And
yeah, and I'm sure she wasn't involved in high-risk behavior.
No.
Sitting inside a car is not usually viewed as high risk.
No, but just to be clear, because I don't want to make sure there's no confusion here on the part of the audience. If concealed carry was allowed, if there was some sort of a national concealed carry license that you could get, and you suddenly had reciprocity with every other state in the nation, it still wouldn't cover because Missouri was one of those states that just said you can now carry concealed anywhere you could carry open prior to that. There's still some restrictions on it, but for the most part, if you could open carry, you can now conceal carry in Missouri without a license.
Well, yes, and I'm aware of that. And there are a dozen states where you don't need a permit at all. Soon to be 13. We think Texas is very shortly going to do something similar. So basically, the driver's license from that state. Oh, I see. You're from Texas. Well, then that means you were legally carrying your concealed firearm.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So, and that's, I think, again, that's just going to be very difficult for some of the control freaks to handle. But the fact is, where would you rather live, in Houston or in Chicago? Well, the weather's about as miserable in Houston as it is in Chicago. Different kinds of miserable, but it's not. Well, put it this way: Toyota, the management, corporate offices in San Diego, California, a couple thousand people, moved from San Diego, California, where the weather is just
perfect
almost all year long. They moved to Houston, and as somebody quipped, they sure didn't do it for the weather. Because Houston is miserable about 9 months of the year.
Uh-huh.
But they did it because Houston is free relative to California.
Yeah.
And they just didn't want the taxes. They didn't want the regulation. They didn't want the burden. And so they moved to Houston. And I think that's just kind of indicative of the notion that concealed carry should be something that is obviously, it is a birthright of Americans. It's been infringed rather overwhelmingly by many states, and I think that could well be coming to an end. If you can't get a permit in Chicago, maybe you could just drive on over to, I don't know, what would be I guess the nearest might be Indiana. Drive over there, get a permit from Indiana, and come back and carry with your permit from Indiana.
It's a good point. A good point. Larry Pratt to Gun Owners of America. Let me direct people to gunowners.org. I'd encourage you to go there and sign up for the email alerts and show them some love because they're doing the hard work to keep your Second Amendment rights safe. I appreciate you, Larry. Thank you.
I look forward to working with you. I think we're going to have something to celebrate this year.
I hope so. Have a great day and a Merry Christmas to you.
You too, sir.
All right,
Bye.
thank you. Larry Pratt, love getting him on here. Cranial pressure is going to increase for liberals across America. There's only one place I've ever been threatened with a knife, and it was in the city of Chicago, where it would have been illegal for me to do anything about it.